Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 replay AlphaStar cast. I think I got things a little bit backwards there, but I think you guys know what you're here for. You are here to see some good old AlphaStar. Probably coming up around its 1-year-old birthday, so pretty good at Starcraft for a 1-year-old, but in the bottom right, we have got a Masters Zerg. So yeah, some really good Starcraft there. That should be happening as this Masters Zerg is going to try and take on Alpha Terran. I apologize there. I know that my mouse kind of just freaked out for a second. That's because I realized I had WCS still open on in the background, or not WCS, the ESL Pro Tour. And, yeah, that's always good. That's going on right now as we speak. Lots of good games. And if we take a look, we have got AlphaStar just opening up pretty normally. Normal opening for the Zerg. Pull up that production tab. Not that you really need it super early on for the first 2 minutes of a game of StarCraft 2. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, though, I mean, I'm looking at the replays right now, and the list is getting very, very small as far as AlphaStar games that we haven't seen goes. This is, including this one, there is 7 to go, which is kind of crazy, which means that we've got 2-3 more videos or so. Maybe, yeah, I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. I've just been casting AlphaStar. I've never really thought how it was going to end. But then we've also got, I'm also going to go over the Mana and the TLO games, assuming that I can still cast those. And, yeah, then that'll be the show. And I'll have to figure out what I'm doing for the rest of the videos on this channel, which is kind of crazy. As far as crazy goes, too, the Zerg player's already got a 3rd base on the way, so very, very early. Starting that up before any queens or any lings, so really wanting that economic play. If you guys remember in the past, in Heart of the Swarm, before Legacy of the Void came around, Zerg would go 3-hatch before Pool all the time. Now it's not a thing at all. Like, this is as greedy as it gets for Zerg. This drone has to try and survive from the Reaper, but unfortunately, it falls victim to it. The next drone, oh no, okay. He saves that one, but not a good start losing a drone right away. He does end up saving those 2 at the natural base and pushing away the Reaper, but losing the 1 drone already and taking that much pressure, it's like, is that really worth it? Interestingly enough, we see AlphaStar working away on this Overlord that was misrallied. I think the Overlord might just survive making it to that high ground. It does. So good for that Overlord, but interestingly enough, AlphaStar threw up that 3rd CC right in the face of the Zerg player before, like, just before that Overlord was even killed. So AlphaStar basically just said, yeah, I'm going for a 3rd expansion. It doesn't matter whether you see it or not, basically. Which is something to consider, because human players would be more likely to hide that, like tuck it into the corner here, or maybe over here or something, to try and prevent it from being scouted by the Zerg, because now the Zerg player knows that he's pretty much got a license to drone, barring a few Hellions running in, so he probably needs to make like a few Lings or whatever to defend. And oh, okay, saves that drone. Good job on that. This Reaper is really testing this Zerg player's patience, as the Reaper will actually go down. AlphaStar stops microing that, interestingly enough. A couple of Hellions run into the natural base. That's why AlphaStar wasn't microing that Reaper. This Zerg player is just turning like all of his drones into spore crawlers, man, and extractors. It's just they can't catch a break, as AlphaStar does dive in with the Hellions. It was 2 Hellions, and oh my gosh, more dive into the 3rd base. Like, this Zerg player's trying to get an economy going. AlphaStar says no. AlphaStar is just really giving a hard time to the Zerg player, but he hasn't actually taken too much damage. I mean, 8 drones for 4 Hellions isn't too bad. That's actually the exact same cost. So, it's not terrible damage. It's not great, but it's not bad. We see AlphaStar's got that 3rd base up, and that's actually been scouted by the Masters player, that there's no wall either. Honestly, if I was the Masters player right now and I saw this little, I'd just start making mass Lings. I mean, that's probably what I do anyway, playing Zerg, but I think getting aggressive would be a pretty decent option for the Zerg player. AlphaStar is really committed to it. The economy, the production's taken a long time to get on. It's just getting up its third base. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you do happen to enjoy these videos, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that like button, leave a comment for, yeah, leave a comment on the video. Let me know what your favorite AlphaStar matchup is. Yeah, we got 3 expansions early on, so let's go for 3 likes on this video. We see AlphaStar maybe going to come in with his Hellions once again. The Masters player is going to be getting aggressive. He's making Roaches, and oh, he's making the Nidus. I love this play. The fact that he's going to try and cheese out AlphaStar. He's already got his Overlord just casually hanging in a very, very sus position. I think AlphaStar may have seen the Nidus Worm, so the AI does know. Whether it's going to react to it or not, I am unsure. We do see a bunker starting, so maybe sniffing out some aggression. But this attack could actually kill AlphaStar, I think. I mean, the AI has played it really greedy this game, and there's going to be a lot of Roaches showing up in the AI's base. There's 1 tank out. There's going to be a second one out. But, I mean, the Nidus is already starting at the 3rd base, and that ain't good for AlphaStar. The main base, the production is going to be vulnerable. There is, however, stim pack done on the Marines, so 13 stim Marines will exist. Make that 12 as that Ling kills 1, but here we go. Queen's now going to be popping out. It should be Roaches coming out next. The Roaches are kind of trying to deal with the Hellions at this base, or the Lings are trying to deal with the Hellions as AlphaStar is creating chaos all over the board. But we do see these Roaches and Queens getting in here. The Roaches are going to try and get on top of that tank. The Queens are going to have to be transfusing each other, transfusing the Roaches. This fight isn't going as well as it should do for the Masters player, I think. Is all of a sudden his Roaches just disappeared. Did AlphaStar just defend this, like, totally easily? Oh my gosh, how does the AI even do this? Like, where'd all the Roaches go? AlphaStar totally just wrecked this guy. The Hellion run by really distracted him. Now we see more Lings spilling out of this, but with Stim Pack, with +1 attack, it's pretty hard to break a Zerg in this position. And I think we're gonna have to rewind and look at this, because I know that there was at least 10 Roaches. Did they just all get killed off by, like, that 1 tank? That somehow I missed that? Or, yeah. Yeah, this is still looking a little bit close here, but if we take a look at the supply right now, AlphaStar's got these Marines just going, just doing the work. They're holding on. The Nidus is going to get cleaned up. The Masters player went for an all-in, which I honestly thought was looking pretty good, but evidently not, as AlphaStar totally just wrecked it. The AI now has got combat shields, got 3 rack or 5 rack production, has got a 3rd base that it'll be able to resecure. And the Masters player, yeah, totally just falling short. Making more Roaches, but no Roach speed, no Evo upgrades, nothing like that. Nothing that's going to bring you back against AlphaStar in this position. And so I think we are going to be seeing the Master player tap on out pretty soon. There's a little bit of creep in AlphaStar's base so far, but yeah, this is just one of those really solid showings from AlphaStar. I am going to rewind to see, like, where exactly the Roaches went. I know that that wasn't the cleanest Nidus play in the world. Like, at first it was just 2 Queens that popped out. There was Hellions causing chaos at the 3rd base. But, yeah. We'll see if this extra Nidus is going to get anything done. AlphaStar is out of position with its army. AlphaStar's army going to be attacking in towards the 3rd base. Looks like the Masters player is going to try and defend this when it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You can't really base trade a Terran, but at the same time, if you stay at home, there's no way you're really going to defend this. These 1/1 Marines, or these +1 attack Marines, are just cutting through the Roaches, cutting through the Queens, cutting through the Ravagers, and AlphaStar stims forward and gets the GG. But before we hop into the next game, I want to check out what happened before that Nidus. Alright, so we see the Roach count right now. It's currently at 9. And then all of a sudden, it's just like there's like no Roaches left. And then, of course, there's the Hellion run by AlphaStar, which is creating a little bit of chaos. And yeah, the Masters player, I think part of the reason why he lost here is that he tried to replace drones right now. Like, he's building the 4 drones instead of units. Like, I know he took a bit of damage, but you just can't do that. We see the Nidus comes out. At first, it's just like the 2 Queens. The Roaches really take their time unloading here. Now they come out, and yeah, are they just all so clumped up that they just get killed off by that tank? Alright, right now there's currently 8 Roaches, so 1's already dead. Yeah. There is 8 Roaches there. And then it's just SCVs, Marines, the tanks. Yeah, they actually just killed off all the roaches super duper quickly. And then no roaches. And yeah, the Masters player, like, not having that round of reinforcements really prevented the snowball. The tank positioning from AlphaStar was just really good. And yeah, well played by AlphaStar. Alright, so this should be a good one here. In the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have got Alpha Terran, so Alpha Terran once again, but taking on Alpha Terran, it's going to be a Grandmaster Protoss player. And I know it's actually been a while as far as watching AlphaStar play versus a good Protoss. I shouldn't say a good Protoss, because a lot of the Protoss players it's played against are very good, but someone who's a Grandmaster, basically. And in the past, AlphaStar has just rolled over Grandmaster players like they're bronze. So we'll see if that's going to happen this game, or if the Grandmaster is going to put up a really good fight. Of course, AlphaStar, just with its Banshees and everything, I think that's one of the more iconic parts of AlphaStar. Just how we've seen so many videos of the AI just rolling over Grandmaster players with Banshees and things. So we'll see if AlphaStar is going to be up to its old tricks as per usual, or if we'll see something a little bit different here today. Okay, so probe, moving around, scouting around, being a bit of a jerk. AlphaStar could lose an SCV. It gets one zap away, but so far stays alive. This probe, yeah, just being a bit of a pain. Heading in, heading out, just being as much of a nuisance as possible. AlphaStar has pulled a couple of SCVs off. Chase that probe away. Costing AlphaStar a little bit of mining time is nice. 3 SCVs are down here. That's more than the usual it takes to secure an expansion for a Terran player. AlphaStar really having enough of that, though. And then is going to start the CC. Notably with the SCV that wasn't zapped. That's definitely the right call to make. The Reaper's on the way for AlphaStar. Grandmaster player going to hide his probe, maybe for a proxy, but most likely just to hide out, come in after the usual Reaper timing. And now AlphaStar is going to just be going for just the usual factory reactor follow-up. Adept is on the way for the Grandmaster player. It looks like he's getting ready to plop down his tech. It looks like it'll be a Stargate, and then, yeah, so Stargate, Adept. Pretty normal opening. AlphaStar's Reaper almost finds that probe, just barely misses it. That was one lucky probe. Yeah, that was a lucky probe, that's for sure. The probe, the timing now would be for it to go in, although I'm not sure what it's hanging around here for. It's kind of missed its window, I think. Seeing as how that reactor is about to finish up, the Marines can start producing, so the probe really doesn't have reason to go in. The Reaper jumps into the main base of the Grandmaster player, gets shooed away. There's also an Adept now about to show up at the natural base of the Terran. We see it's going to be tight timing, but the command center does finish up. Looks like the SCV will get killed off, but the CC finishing up is the most important part. Now there's a Hellion, 2 Marines that are going to set to work on this Adept, and she will get pushed away. All the while the Reaper's still just hanging out. The Adept, she barely escaped, taking a lot of damage there. A couple Marines and a Hellion, more than enough to take care of her. This probe is still just hanging out, really missed its window, but oh, okay, that's normal. We see a fleet beacon popping down for the Grandmaster player. If you were wondering if this was going to be a normal AlphaStar game, the answer is most certainly not. So it's most likely going to be Tempest or Carriers, something like that, as AlphaStar is now having a scout be denied by the Grandmaster player. Yeah, that's just not normal, however. We take a look. Cyclone's now on the way. Adept gets shooed away once more, and yeah, the fleet beacon's done, so what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be a Tempest? Yes, it is gonna be a Tempest. The probe has relocated, probably to a place to build some shield batteries, and AlphaStar is gonna be getting cheese in a very, very classic fashion. Or I guess it's not really a classic fashion, but this was in the meta more so like a few months ago, when the shield battery first came around, going for something like just flying a Tempest casually across the map. Now, if we see it these days in pro matches and things, it's pretty much always you actually proxy the Stargate too. But for now, we take a look. Hellion's running into the Grandmaster player's base, just trying to be a pain, get some pro kills. Little does AlphaStar know what's going to be coming its way, but it's still getting damage done, which is certainly good. The Reaper hasn't jumped back into the main base yet. It will now, but the Adept completes the Shade. And AlphaStar has indeed seen that it's a Tempest on the way. Whether the AI registers that, I'm honestly unsure, because, yeah, I honestly don't know if AlphaStar recognizes what's building out of his Stargate because of the animation. It's not like the AI has actual eyes. It did catch a glimpse of that Tempest now, though, so it definitely knows. We see the AI's making another Viking, making a shield battery, and the first Tempest is actually now out on the field, going to be shooting away on one of these Vikings, being kept alive by the shield batteries. AlphaStar does micro back the injured Viking. Very well done on that front. The Marines are still doing an okay job. And so far, the Grandmaster player hasn't got too much damage done. He's throwing up an extra gateway. Building more shield batteries is the most important part. You just got to keep healing these Tempest up. Got to hold on to this position, though, as AlphaStar is actually going to try and break this rather quickly. I'm not sure this is going to work out for the AI, however, the shield batteries cannot be broken easily, keeping those gateway units alive. The Tempest want to engage the Vikings, start thinning out their numbers. The Cyclone gets grabbed. That's a good play there. Looks like one of the Tempests takes a bit of a beating, but the shield batteries will heal it up, as another one did just finish up, and there we go, yeah. Tempest gets healed up. Another one should be crossing the map. Once it's 3-4 Tempests, that's where it really becomes problematic for the Terran, because they really start to one-shot everything. AlphaStar is actually making a Banshee behind this. I'm not sure what that's for. That isn't going to help out when dealing with Tempest. And I feel like this might be one of those gimmicky situations which AlphaStar isn't perfectly suited to deal with. This is hard even for the best pro gamers who think of like a very detailed response to handle with, whereas I doubt in training AlphaStar went up against this. So we do see the AI throwing up lots of turrets to counter this, but then again, sandbagging is different than surviving and winning the game. AlphaStar is sandbagging with these turrets now. It is throwing up an extra starport, making a Widowmine, making Marines. It's going to keep its production going constantly, which is actually a very important part to defending this. But as we do see, the AI is bleeding off Marines, which is no good. SCV is repairing the tanks, just trying to buy as much time as possible. The Tempest count, however, is growing. It's like a tank is going to go down. Eventually, that will allow the gateway units to step forward, and they'll actually be a significant threat to AlphaStar. The AI has been making more units, is actually just going to throw up a bunker on the high ground and maybe retreat from the natural base location, but that is not a good spot to be in if you are AlphaStar. The Tempests are coming forward, the gateway units are coming forward, a lot of SCVs are going to be sacked. AlphaStar is in a lot of trouble right now, seeing as how it's 5 Vikings to 5 Tempest out on the map. The AI has now got double Viking production going, but it seems like it's going to be a little bit too late, basically. The bunker's going to be getting up. That'll buy some more time, sandbag a little bit more for AlphaStar as the AI is trying to get out more Vikings, but there's just so many Stalkers now, too. All the tanks are gone. They're not going to be able to help out. SCVs are being pulled to keep this bunker alive. Looks like it will fall. The Vikings are getting shot by these Tempests constantly, and they just don't have the numbers to actually engage the Tempest. One Tempest does eat a Widowmine shot. That might pressure AlphaStar into taking the fight, but I think this is one of the situations which the AI is just going to die. Vikings do pick off one of the Tempests as the Marines step forward to help out too. 2 Tempests going down, but the problem is there's still all these gateway units on the ground. The Vikings get killed off rather quickly, and it's going to be really hard for AlphaStar to push this back. The Vikings are moving forward. They are in a rather healthy number. They are working away on a lot of the Tempests, but then the problem remains of the Stalkers still. Looks like the Vikings actually did way better than I thought they would against the Tempest. SCVs and Marines are engaging the Stalkers. I think it's still going to be a very, very hard hold for AlphaStar. We'll see, however, if the Vikings are going to choose to land. Looks like the answer is no. They're just being shot at by the Stalkers too much. The Stalkers are now being healed by the shield batteries, so even though AlphaStar did manage to clean out the Tempest, it's still not looking great. The Vikings do actually need to land to help out. Instead, they're just going to waddle across the map, it would seem, as this orbital command is burning down that belongs to AlphaStar. And the AI has failed to push back all these Stalkers. The number has been thinned out a great deal. AlphaStar is rather broke now, though. The economy is in shambles. The Vikings, they actually decide to come home, which is just not going to work out. I mean, AlphaStar can really play this game out in the long term. and it's just not gonna be able to get a win in the immediate future. The Vikings maybe could have been that play crossing the map, but we saw the Grandmaster player warped in Stalkers at home. Anticipating that, the Vikings are gonna land, but they're all in the orange. A tank does pop out, which will help, but with losing the orbital, there's really no chance for AlphaStar to come back in this game, I feel. SCVs have been pulled, the AI is super broke. The Grandmaster player has a third base on the way, or actually finished and mining. And yeah, humanity gonna get at least one more cheesy victory out in this series. It was a little bit chaotic. I was actually impressed by how well AlphaStar responded to that cheese. It definitely could have been a hold. But I think in the end it was just that AlphaStar didn't quite have out enough Vikings right away to take on that fight, so it really got pushed back, losing the tanks and things. But yeah, still a really good play by AlphaStar, I think. The Grandmaster player can pat himself on the back as one of the players to beat AlphaStar, as these Adepts are going to shade in, get on top of the tank. Tempest Stalkers coming on in once again. The tank does get cleaned on up, and that actually wasn't the best fight in the world for the Grandmaster player, but once again, AlphaStar isn't getting a better economy with just the one base going. It's not going to be able to stay alive. The Grandmaster player will eventually just overrun based on pure numbers alone. Even though the AI has actually been taking, yeah, way better fights than I thought it would. Tempest has come forward being a nuisance, though. The Vikings, they will engage it, but there's not enough to damage through the shield batteries super effectively. Tempest, yeah, gonna kill off those Vikings, and that's no good. That's no good if you're AlphaStar, the Grandmaster player behind this, getting up a Twilight Council, getting up Double Forge, like, well, alright, I guess I'll play this game out, but in the end, AlphaStar does end up tapping out, and so we've actually got another best-of-3 series that's gonna go the distance. We'll hop into the next game and find out if AlphaStar or humanity is gonna take it. Alright, so who is better in one of our final AlphaStar matches to represent humanity than the unranked Protoss champion? This man could be bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, masters, grandmaster, EPT, or GSL Code S material. We will never know. But this game, he's going to be on the map Cyber Forest, taking on Alpha Protoss. Let's find out who's going to be able to win this one. After this replay, there is only going to be 4 matches left, so I'm going to have to figure out how we'll divvy those up. Yeah, I'm honestly unsure. I might just jump into it and see where it goes in a sense. But yeah, let's take a look here. There is a gateway on the way for the unranked player. Double gassed, so scouting out a little bit, but I don't even know if, like, you really need to scout out that early. That's like super duper early cannon rush timing, checking for that, making sure that your opponent didn't literally just charge a probe across the map, throw up something for a cannon rush, which is common in PvP, and cannon rushes are hard to hold in PvP. I'm starting to realize that more and more so. But we take a look, the unranked player gonna send out a probe scout, get up his cyber core, and the game is gonna look pretty darn normal as far as PvP goes. Normal openings across the board, and then yeah, we'll take a look at how the unranked player is gonna play this one out. What AlphaStar will do, of course. I mean, there are ways to cheese out AlphaStar. Probe scout for the unranked player comes in. He basically says, hey, 1-2 pylons. Okay, I can eliminate the fact that it's not I can eliminate the idea that it could be a super early rush. And then you can basically just keep your probe around in case you want to tell whether it's a Stargate or what. And the unranked player is actually going to just straight up see that it was a Stargate getting thrown down by AlphaStar and be like, neat, I have all the info. He even sees an extra pylon getting built too, which is just wonderful for the unranked player. He says, okay, 3 pylons, a Stargate in the main. I see everything. And that's actually really good for him, whereas AlphaStar is a little bit more in the dark. The unranked player is going to be positioning his stalkers to try and intercept Adepts or whatever's coming his way, as long as he is prepared to actually stop those. But yeah, then the unranked player, we'll see if he's just going to go for like an expansion, He has delayed his tech to go for the more pricey Stalkers, but we do see these Stalkers, they're going to run right into the Adept. The Adept's going to start taking shots from them, and yeah, these will be getting shut down pretty hard, it looks like. Is there going to be a wall? Probes getting pulled off the line to drop that battery, and yes, they are. One of the Adepts has died, the other completes his shade there. But so far, so good for the unranked player. I mean, AlphaStar's got an Oracle on the way, but the unranked player, with his pylon that he threw up and actually let finish, just straight up sees that, hey, that's an Oracle that's building. And he sees AlphaStar's also gone for a shield battery, going for an extra gateway. So the unranked player, yeah, he just throws up a battery in his main base, and he's laughing. Bob's your uncle. He's got a Nexus on the way at a very reasonable time, and he's even sending out a probe. I'm not sure what this guy's for. If it's just to scout out for proxies or to build his own proxy pylon, we shall see. But yeah, for now, I mean, 4 Stalkers in the main base, definitely going to be enough to shoo away the Oracle. The shield battery there is also definitely a great help. Twilight Council's on the way for the unranked player. He does have the Nexus just about to finish up, or way earlier anyway than the unranked players. AlphaStar's killing off that shield battery. Is that a complete wall? I feel like an Adept could slip through that crack, or a Stalker could, but gets killed off anyway. Interesting play by AlphaStar. There is now 2 Oracles out, so you do have to be on the ball as the unranked player. Otherwise, you will end up losing probes, since 2 Oracles can just dart on in and do that. But for now, though, looks really darn good for the unranked player. AlphaStar's Nexus is later, the Robo's later. Of course, AlphaStar does have the slight worker lead because of how it plays, but as long as the unranked player starts building his probe count up, making sure he's got adequate defense to defend against the Oracles at all of his bases, he'll be fine. Yeah, he might need to warp in another Stalker or 2 to lock down his main base completely, but for now, it's looking really darn good for the unranked player. There we go. He's warping in a couple more Stalkers. He's got his bases unlocked, and now he's actually got 2 Adepts going to shade into the main base of AlphaStar. There's only 2 Stalkers here to stop this, so there's at the very least going to be a few probe deaths. So far, 3 dead probes. The Adepts are going to shade again. Looks like they will run right into those units, so they probably will get killed off. So 2 Adepts for 3 workers, not the best. He maybe could have got 1 or 2 more, depending on how he microed it, but we see the players are at an equal worker count. There's Blink for the unranked player. There's a Forge on the way too. AlphaStar wants to get something done with its Oracles, but it is actually really good to see how willing the AI is to hesitate when it comes to using its Oracles. We see these Adepts are getting stopped hard. They haven't even, or they killed off 1 worker, that was it. So AlphaStar getting less damage done than the unranked player did. And yeah, as I was saying about the Oracles, it's actually really cool to see how AlphaStar is handling its Oracle micro. Like, usually we see the AI get multiple kills done with its Oracles. It'll dive in, it'll dive out, but the positioning is actually really darn good by this unranked player. So he's been able to push away the Oracles every step of the way. He's now got Blink. So if AlphaStar commits even an inch too far, the Blink will be revealed and the unranked player will pounce on this. And I gotta say, this unranked player has got to be playing he's got to be pretty high up on the ladder. Like, I would say, probably a Grandmaster player from the play that we've seen so far. Of course, sometimes I'll say things like that, it'll jinx the player and things will just fall apart, but if we take a look right now with those hallucinated Phoenix, the Stalkers actually get on top of AlphaStar's Oracles with a Blink. One of them gets killed off, and that is huge for the unranked player. It basically means that his shield battery in his main will defend against anything like that. It's going to free him up positionally, and he actually hunted down the second Oracle and got it somehow. Really, really well done. This is going to free him up to move out with his units to start bullying AlphaStar, and the freedom of killing those Oracles without taking like any damage. I don't know if he lost a single probe to those Oracles. It's huge. Of course, AlphaStar is never done. AlphaStar is not one to have like one thing go wrong and then just to back off, because right now we see 3 Adepts are warped in at a Prism. They're going to be heading towards the main base. A 3rd base is going up for the unranked player. He's getting all sorts of tech on the way. A 3rd Nexus +1, a Prism, Templar Archives charge about to finish up, as he's also testing AlphaStar's front with his Blink Stalkers. There goes the Prism into the main base. A quick reaction by the unranked player to warp in some Stalkers, probably to try and kill off the Adepts. To try and grab the Prism would be huge to at least ensure that this is shut down and killed. Looks like the Prism is going to take a lot of damage. AlphaStar does lose the Prism. That is huge. That Prism Did allow the Adepts to kill off a few workers, but that was definitely not enough, I feel. 8 probes going down. This entire game does not justify the losses that AlphaStar has had, so the unranked player has just been playing really, really darn solid. And this is a fantastic game to show us the competition between humanity and the AI. As, wow, yeah, really, really great play from the unranked player. He does have that third Nexus about to finish up. He's down on workers a little bit, but he's still looking really good. He's going to come in with his Prism. He's going to see the fact that this is a Dark Shrine, and he's going to be able to react to that ahead of time while his Archon drop is going to get into the main base. These probes are very clumped up due to the reduced amount of mineral patches. These Archons getting some really big shots off, killing off a ton of AlphaStar's workers. DTs get warped in to work away on these Archons. They're going to get saved, though. Yes, they do. The Prism is taking a lot of heat. AlphaStar missed targets, shoots one of its own Stalkers accidentally, and the Prism does escape. That was a misclick by AlphaStar. That Stalker took 2-3 shots from its own friends there, and actually took a lot of damage. And probably is the reason why that Prism died. Or didn't die. We see cannons are getting up for the unranked player, reacting to this. He's got observers on the way now, so he is getting ready to handle the DT threat. AlphaStar's coming across the map now. The Stalker's going to blink away. All the unranked player really needs to do is hold on against this attack, and with 4 Archons in his composition with charge lots, whereas AlphaStar just has blink, there's also +1 for the unranked player. This is looking really good for him. It's going to have to be a miracle attack for AlphaStar, as the AI is now going to be pushing on in. But yeah, the army looks way, way better for the unranked player. It's going to have to be a great engagement by AlphaStar. And I'm not going to say the AI can't work miracles, but with a blink going forward for the unranked player, pouncing on top of the Prism, going to be cleaning up the Immortals of AlphaStar, as 2 already get picked off. The Archons, the Charge Lot's going to push this away. AlphaStar has to recall, but the AI ends up getting pushed back, losing all of its units pretty much, or most of its units. I mean, some survived in the recall, but it was not a high number of them that survived. AlphaStar's trying to establish a third base, but this unranked player, who's definitely a Grandmaster, has been playing a great Protoss versus Protoss. I want to know who this is. It would be really cool to know who this is. But so far we take a look. Charge lots are coming on in. And yeah, this is just looking like a great, great game. Yeah, the Zealots, the Archons just getting on top, killing off a ton of the workers. We see these Stalkers are just blinking forward once again, sniping the Prism. There's just no potential for AlphaStar to come back here. And humanity's actually going to take the series. And I know humans have got some gimmicky wins, but this was just really, really great play from the unranked player in an honest macro game against AlphaStar, coming out ahead pretty much every step of the way. And yeah, great, great play by the unranked player. I almost want to like tag some pro players to find out who this was, because it was a really darn good PvP. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you did happen to enjoy this match, go ahead, hit that like button. What a match it was. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. Subscribe to the channel, join the bell gang. You press that little bell icon after pressing subscribe. You get notified whenever I put up a new video, a live stream, a tournament announcement, things like that. Consider becoming a member if you do want to support the channel. There's various perks you can get, and it does go a long way to supporting. But yeah, thanks so much to everyone for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. My name is LaughNgamez. What a match that was.